Breaking news. The San Francisco 49ers have made a contract extension, and it comes in the form of giving Colton McKivitz a one-year contract extension in the value range of $7 million. So what we're going to do, we're going to react to this news, good, bad. I want to hear from you. Let me know in the chat how you are feeling about the San Francisco 49ers giving a contract extension to last year's starting right tackle. And of course, drop an SDS in the chat. Let's talk about it all right now. Smash that like button and let's get to it. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. All right. How are we feeling this morning on Friday, March 8th, as we get our first significant move of the offseason? As reported by Colton McKivitz agency, the San Francisco 49ers have come to terms on a one-year contract extension with a total of $7 million in overall value. So that is the first move that we've got so far. And so what is going to be interesting about this as well is what cap ramifications come from this, because as it currently stands, Colton McKivitz was going to be playing next year on the last year of his deal, has him signed through 2024 prior to the contract extension. That would have his base salary at $2,525,000, and he had a signing bonus of $146,000, and his cap hit was $3.6 million next year. So I would imagine that also by extending him, you're also creating space by kind of pushing the cap hit to 2025. So I do think there are some positives here from this. Now, I can already imagine most 49er fans, based on talking to you guys throughout the season and at the end of the season, were definitely hopeful to be getting an upgrade at the position. And I know that's been the big talking point moving forward. But again, you have to look at this from the business side of things. We are currently in business season. So we have to look at this from that particular standpoint. And when you look at a guy who played over 1,200 snaps for the San Francisco 49ers last year, starting at right tackle, and for the most part held up, I would say he was serviceable, meaning you could go out there and still run your offense for the most part and do what you need to do. Now, was it the best? No. Was he elite? No. Was he great? No. But it was also his first full year starting at right tackle. And he's a guy that I also, if I had to give my evaluation on, I profile him best at guard. But he has that versatility to be able to play both tackles, left and right. He can play both guard spots, left and right. And honestly, in a pinch, I think he could even play center. So this is a guy in the NFL that has value, even though he might not be considered an elite tackle, a high-end starting tackle. Some may even consider him not even like a mid-value starting tackle. They'd kind of put him at the bottom. He still presents value. He still presents a ton of value, in my opinion. And I think this is, if you've been paying attention, I've kind of been talking about this all offseason. This is why I haven't been banging the table crazy for a, starting tackle at 31 because two reasons. I don't think any of the guys that you can plug and play, and you can lock in the draft will be there at 31. This is one of the best offensive line classes we have seen in a long time, but there's no guarantee that any of those guys will slide to 31. I've been of the mindset that if you're really looking for a plug and play starting right tackle, you got to trade up. You got to trade up at minimum into the early 20s to get that guy. And if you stay at 31, there's also no guarantee that that guy is coming in and beating out Colton McKivitz, because I've talked about it many times. Training camp in the NFL is not built for competition, especially in the trenches. You get 5, maybe 6 padded practices. Those are the practices that matter the most for offensive linemen. And these rookies are just trying to learn the system, let alone having to acclimate going from the college level to the pro level. It's very challenging. So this is the way that I look at it. Do I think Colton McKivitz is the best offensive right tackle in the NFL? No, he's not. And that's not an indictment on him either. I think he's a serviceable tackle. He can start. He can play multiple spots. And a 1-year, $7 million contract extension. I mean, let's take a look at what Mike McGlinchey, just for, again, contextual reference in regards to what we had prior and what he got paid when he left. Mike McGlinchey, the guy who was manning down the right tackle position, got a 5-year, $87.5 million contract, 17.5 signing bonus. His average salary is $17.5 million. He got $35 million at signing, total guarantees of $52.5 million. Now contextualize that with Colton McKivitz, who is making $7 million. So that's the context of it. I understand that the idea of having an elite right tackle would be the best. And again, you're talking to the guy who fundamentally believes you should build your offensive line to be one of the strongest groups on the entire team. That's just how I believe. But I also understand that's not how necessarily the 49ers believe. It's not their philosophy. And it hasn't been since Kyle Shanahan took over. If you go through, if you look at that right side, whether it's McGlinchey, who they did draft in the first round, they took him in the top 10. So they did spend the capital to put that investment at right tackle. But if you also look at right guard, you've had Mike Person. You've had, of course, in recent memory, Feliciano, and you've also had Spencer Burford. They haven't necessarily always prioritized offensive line. It's been give or take, because you can say that, but there's also, they trade for Trent Williams, which is one of the greatest trades of all time, in my opinion. They draft McGlinchey in the first top 10 pick. So they've spent money on Weston Richburg. They brought in Alex Mack. They traded for Laken Tomlinson. So they have invested assets into the offensive line, but I just don't think it's been how 49ers fans envision. I think they want the Tristan Wirfs. They want the Lane Johnsons of the world. And they drafted Aaron Banks in the second round. So they have invested. It just hasn't, I would say, come to fruition like I think a lot of us have hoped for. So it's really hard to say, well, they don't invest in the offensive line, but they do. It just hasn't, I don't think, come to fruition like we've all have absolutely hoped for. So the way that I'm looking at this is, if I had to give you my take on the Colton McKivitz deal and the extension, I think it's a good deal. The reason why I think it's a good deal is because you just signed a capable starter through 2025. You likely push out the cap hit this year to next year. So you actually open up some cap space. And, you know, best case scenario for this fan base, you have Colton McKivitz as a swing tackle, swing interior offensive lineman. Best case scenario, he starts and he improves and he plays better. Now, I know when you look at what he did in a pass blocking standpoint, he gave up 9 sacks last year, which would have had him, I think, tied for 4th in overall sacks. But also, I think it's important to note that as many people complain about the sacks given up by Colton McKivitz, I've also seen people call for guys like Jonah Williams. Okay, well, Jonah Williams gave up 8 sacks. I've seen people call for Mekhi Becton. Well, Mekhi Becton gave up 12 sacks. Former first rounder Ike Ekwonu gave up 11 sacks. Paris Johnson, who I believe was a top 10 pick last year by Arizona, gave up 8 sacks. So, yes, are the metrics great? Maybe not, but again, if you're calling for a high-end replacement, and some of the names that I've heard, Jonah Williams, like, oh, bring in Jonah Williams, he would be an upgrade. Would he? He wouldn't be from a sack perspective. Now, I will say that I do believe Colton McKivitz needs to improve in pass protection. He was second in the NFL in giving up quarterback hurries. Orlando Brown, starting left tackle for the Chiefs, was first. And the starting right tackle for the Chiefs, Jawan Taylor, was third. So, guys like Jordan Mailata gave up 41 quarterback hurries. Guys like Blake Freeland, a guy that I wanted the 49ers to take at the end of the third last year, gave up 37 as a rookie. Mike McGlinchey gave up 35 quarterback hurries and 6 sacks. So, I think you have to just contextualize it. Again, Mike McGlinchey is the perfect comp because he played in that role and he got paid, yet he gave up, 3 less sacks than Colton McKivitz and 9 less quarterback hurries, but at what cost, right? So I think that's just the biggest way that we have to contextualize all of this is that you're getting you got him at a value. Like, that's where we're looking at. He got him at a value. Is he the ideal starting right tackle of the future? Probably not. You want to get your Lane Johnsons. You want to get your Penei Sewells. That would be ideal, to get a blue chip right tackle, right? Blue chip right guard, blue chip center, blue chip left guard. That's the grand plan, but that doesn't always work out that way. So you have to be able to contextualize this in the reference of for what he is and what he was able to do and the role he fit. Not bad. Really not bad. And the fact you're just giving him a $7 million contract extension and you kick him out, not bad. Not bad at all. So, again, I think people try to judge Colton like he should be an elite right tackle. And I think that's part of it. Is he's not an elite right tackle. He's a first-year starter who was drafted, in my opinion, to be a guard. And then on top of that, you have to be able to contextualize. He can improve. He can get better. And when you compare it to other tackles across the league, including Mike McGlinchey, who got the bag, not that bad. So I look at it like this. The 49ers lock up Colton. This gives them flexibility in the draft. I tweeted this out yesterday. I expect Jonathan Feliciano to get signed as well. And you very well could have the starting offensive line be Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Brendel, Feliciano, McKivitz heading into next year, or at least heading into the draft, which gives you the flexibility to be able to do whatever the hell you want in this draft. So BPA, a thing that we don't typically see from the 49ers in the first round, that is on the table. That is on the table. Now you can wait till a tackle falls to you. You don't have to trade up. You can wait till someone falls to you and have the insurance that if you draft a tackle at 31 and he's not ready to go, you don't have to force him out there. You can allow him time to develop. You can allow him time to learn that rookie could turn into your swing tackle, which, you still got Jalen Moore as well. And so it gives them flexibility, but it also gives them flexibility to be able to target defensive end. It gives them flexibility to target cornerback. It gives them the options to do what they need to do. So that's it. It's not a exciting extension. It's not something where people absolutely love it at all. I know this is a position that people have wanted to replace for the majority of the offseason, but you have to look at it from a roster building standpoint and from the standpoint that he can start in this league. Might not be the ideal situation that you are looking for in regards to elite tackle play, but he can do it. So you get him on a value, and that allows you to be even more flexible in free agency, more flexible in the draft. And if the 49ers can't get Feliciano done, they won't have any holes on the offensive line heading into both these periods. And that allows them to make moves without having to force a signing or force a draft pick. And I think that's the most ideal situation for it all. Let's see. I saw a question. Brad, I know you've been watching Fautanu, but have you seen anything from right tackle Rosen Garden? Yes, I have been watching Rosen Garden as I've been watching Troy as well. I definitely, when I look at Rosen Garden, I'm very impressed with his testing scores, his movement ability. He's definitely got a lot of potential, but when you watch him on tape, he has to improve on tape. I would say that he shows good feet. He shows great movement ability, and that he could definitely be a starting right tackle, but he falls off blocks rather consistently. And that has been a concern of mine, is that it shows up consistently. Now, you're not going to win every rep. You're not going to be able to maintain every block. That is part of it. But at the rate in which Rosen Garden kind of struggles in that realm, that to me is his biggest thing he needs to improve upon. But I think that's why he will be a third, fourth round pick. A team might take a chance on his traits, might take a chance on how well he tested, and hope that development comes. But I look at Rosen Garden as a project. He looks like there's still some technical aspects to his game that he needs to improve upon. He falls off blocks too consistently. He gets beat in that situation in both run and pass a little bit too consistently, but he has the traits that you want and could improve and develop at the next level. I don't see him as a plug and play right tackle. I see him as a guy you want to sit on the bench for a year or two, let him acclimate to the NFL level, and then could be a guy in the future. But I would definitely have him. I see why he's in the third, fourth kind of range. The tape, he has great traits, tests well, moves well. The actual playing offensive line part needs a little bit of work. He does show some things on tape where you're like, ooh, there's the potential. But he also shows things on tape like, all right, we need to be more consistent. So that's just my thing with him. Troy, on the other hand, he could be the best. He could be the best offensive lineman out of this class. He's that good. So Troy's a stud. Troy's a guy that is definitely, my locked in first draft crush of this year. But Rosen Garden to me is definitely a project. I would have him definitely in the third or fourth round. But again, a team could take a shot on him early. The overreactions are hilarious. Niners fans always melting down. I think that's just a function of all the PTSD that 49er fans have gone through. I understand why fans are quick to melt down. Like I knew this was coming when I saw it. I was like, oh boy. I was like, oh, the fans are gonna love this one. I mean, I think if you go to my comment section on Instagram, it's just people are just it's just like, oh, like they don't like it. They don't like it at all. And again, this is why I've, quietly been trying to tell everyone that this is probably the most likely outcome. That McKivitz will be back, and there's no guarantee. I even tweeted it yesterday. Let me see if I can pull up the tweet. Now read it word for word what I tweeted out yesterday. Let's see. Because again, I've said being at 31 is not ideal if you really want a starting tackle. It's just not ideal. Doesn't mean you can't find a starting tackle at 31, but you can't lock it in. So I tweeted this out yesterday. I believe the most realistic outcome is the 49ers bring back Feliciano. McKivitz will be back, and if you stay at 31 or take an offensive tackle in later rounds, there is no guarantee a rookie beats out McKivitz in camp, but this could allow flexibility to target a high-end cornerback D-end via trade. Tweeted that out yesterday at 1:03 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, less than 24 hours removed from that tweet. The San Francisco 49ers signed Colton McKivitz to a contract extension. So again, people, I think, just need to take deep breaths and just understand that this is a good move. Is it a great move? Is it a home run? We're not calling it that, but you have to have bodies. You have to have capable bodies. He's proven he can play. He's proven he can start. Is he the best right tackle in the league? We've talked about this. No. Is he probably considered a little bit below average? Yes. That's why he got a 1-year, $7 million contract extension. It matches kind of where he's at. But if you can bank on his development and bank on him improving next year, and again, it gives you flexibility to make other moves. It's not the end all be all. It's not the end all be all. Like there's still a chance they can go out and draft a tackle. There's still a chance they can hit on someone in the second or third. But this insulates the room. It insulates them with a guy that they know, that they feel strongly enough that could potentially play, and it gives them the ability to go make other moves. And again, it probably opens up cap space for this year. And all we see right now is the 1-year, $7 million. The question that you guys have to wait for is how much of this money is guaranteed. If only like let's say 15% of this 7 million is guaranteed, you can't even judge the deal yet. So, and to pay 7 million for a baseline starter is not a bad deal. So I think everyone just needs to chill, just needs to relax, take some deep breaths, try to work your way through your 49ers PTSD, and understand that this isn't the end of the world. And in fact, this gives them more flexibility to potentially even go out and draft a tackle and go out and get whatever they want and wherever they believe is best suited to build out this roster. Relax. You're likely going to get more cap space in 2024. We don't know what the guarantees are in the contract just yet. This could out being a complete bargain for the San Francisco 49ers. So just chill. Just relax. Wait for the information to come out. We don't even know. And even if it, like, let's say, for example, it was a $7 million guaranteed contract, paying $7 million for a starting player on the whole, it's not that bad. It's not. So just relax. But I guarantee you, it's not a guaranteed contract all the way through. So just wait and see. Just wait and see what it is. We don't know what the official numbers are. We just see what the high level money looks like. But just wait. Just wait. This could turn out to be a bargain deal. So there's still information that needs to be gleaned from this. And exactly. How dare them to not be stacked at every position? If there's anything that I've learned about the San Francisco 49ers, they don't want any holes heading into free agency draft, especially the draft. Remember when they traded for Zane Gonzalez, a kicker, before the draft? Because why? They don't want any holes on their roster so that when they get to the draft, they can technically do whatever the heck they want to do. Let's say they missed out on Jake Moody. Well, they still had Zane Gonzalez on the roster. From everything that I've learned in regards to trends and how this team builds their roster, they want to move into this period of the year with no perceived holes. So it gives them the flexibility to do what they want. And when they have had those holes, whether at right tackle, i.e. McGlinchey, defensive tackle, i.e. Javon Kinlaw, they have taken swings, and those swings haven't been perceived as hits. So go into these draft periods, go into free agency with as many holes filled so you have the flexibility to make the best move, not the move for needs. And that is where I think this is a good move. They plug that hole, they solidify it. We don't know what the guaranteed money is. They probably push out the cap space over more years. They just probably opened up a good amount of cap, potentially in the range of $3 million. So relax, calm down. It's going to be okay. I promise you. This is where I would say just trust me a little bit. Just trust me a little bit. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. This isn't the end of the world. All right, guys. I think the 49ers will be able to be just fine. And again, this gives them the flexibility to target offensive line in the third or fourth and be able to try to get more impact ready guys. That's what we're looking for. Was this really a good decision? I don't think it was a bad decision. Why would it be a bad decision to plug a hole heading into free agency in the draft for probably relatively penny on the dollars in regards to a starting position? Why would that be a bad move? Like, why would that be considered a bad move? I don't believe it's a bad move. I don't believe it's a bad move at all. Again, we don't even know what the guaranteed money looks like. It could be a fraction of that $7 million. So that gives 49ers flexibility to do a lot of different things. So again, is this a home run move? No. Is this like a Super Bowl income? No, it's this is how you build the roster. This is how you build the roster. It fills a hole, it gives them cap flexibility, and it allows them to keep building. That's what it is. Don't look at this as like if we just paid Colton McKivitz a 5-year, if we just gave Colton McKivitz a 5-year, $50 million contract, the conversation would be a lot different, right? The conversation would be significantly different, but they didn't do that. They gave him 1 year, $7 million deal, and we have no idea how much of that is guaranteed. Relax. Relax. It's not that big of a deal. It just means that we have plugged that potential hole and offers the 49ers to go in and grab a tackle that they can develop now, either behind McKivitz, or if the tackle that they go out and get is presumed to be better, then they can do that as well. Oh, do we have guarantees? I see it in the chat. Let me double check. Let me see. What's the guaranteed money? 65% fully guaranteed. I see that. That's not bad. I don't think that's bad at all. I don't think that's bad at all. 65% of $7 million guaranteed. I don't think that's bad at all. But that tells me that he's probably going to be your starter next year. But that gives them the flexibility to still draft. And because if you think about it, if you saw what Dotson got, he got a lot of money. And again, this allows the 49ers to plug in going out and getting a defensive end. I think you guys have to understand that defensive line is I think, more pressing need than honestly offensive line right now. And I know that doesn't match the fan narrative, but it is what it is. So we'll see what the San Francisco 49ers have to do moving forward, and see how the 49ers continue to build through the offensive line. I still think it needs to be a position that they target in the draft. I think it becomes very interesting to see how they manage any additional free agents. Again, I think that the next guy up is going to be Jonathan Feliciano. And so with that offensive line, again, keyword, flexibility. They can do whatever they need to do because they have a baseline serviceable offensive line. I know people are upset, and there was some issues throughout the season. But I think you also have to contextualize that this team went to the Super Bowl with this offensive line group. So is it the best group ever? No. But let's put it into context, all right? It was good enough to get them to the Super Bowl. Yes, do we want to win the Super Bowl? Obviously, we saw Feliciano getting hurt in that game. Turned out to be a massive game-changing moment for that offensive line. So just relax, chill. That doesn't mean they're not going to target offensive linemen in the draft. It gives them the flexibility to do what they want. That's the key. Flexibility. Just deep breath, guys. It's going to be okay. I promise you it's going to be okay. So take those deep breaths. 49ers have the flexibility now to do a bunch of different things, and we'll see how it goes from here. But appreciate you guys as always for tapping in. It's going to be an interesting off season. Again, Legal tampering period starts on the 11th. But as we see, and I even saw, I think Mayoko said, expect for some additional contract extensions similar to this for some veterans. He'd said nothing big, but so that tells me it feels like Feliciano's up next. Maybe Tashawn Gibson returns. We'll see how that goes. But whether you like it or not, smash that like button. And we got some more things coming up. And as soon as anything drops, we're posting about it. We're reacting to it. And we're going to give you our takes on it. Smash that like button on the way out. Grab your cookies. And we will be back later, especially if more moves are announced. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.